What's going on, guys? Coach Ian here with Legacy Endurance, helping you run further, faster, and more focused. And this week we're talking about injuries.
Ouch!
Alright guys, so the reality is if you're a runner, there's a good chance that sooner or later an injury is going to happen. And the biggest thing you need to understand is, what do you do when that time comes? Well, the first thing we want to talk about is, how do you know if you should be taking a break, stopping running, or if you can train through an injury? You know, one of the great things about us as runners, and a problem we have, is that we're really good at sort of running through discomfort. Aches and pains, stiffness, soreness, it's kind of par for the course, and so a lot of times we get very used to that. But that can be a problem for us when an injury starts to come up. A lot of times we tend to ignore that, chalk it up as something that's just going to go away, and you have to be very careful that you don't put yourself in a position where you're going to be off for a long period of time. So the first thing to understand and really ask yourself when an injury happens is it modifying your running stride? If the answer is yes, it's probably a good sign that you should be taking some time off. What I mean by that is, if your gait is changing, if your posture is changing, if something in the stride is different because of the soreness, because of the injury, you need to stop. For me, it's usually a couple days, 2 or 3 days. You're not going to lose any fitness. You're not going to take a step back in your training if you're taking a couple, 3 days off. And often that's all you need to get back on your feet. The problem sometimes comes when you run through it for 2-3 weeks and all of a sudden the problem gets bigger and bigger and it's not going away. Now all of a sudden you've got a big problem in your hands. So that's the way I like to sort of determine whether you should stop running or you should be able to continue to train, is if your running stride is changing. If you're just sore but your stride isn't really changing all that much, then maybe you can continue to train through that. Maybe just a matter of reducing the volume, reducing the intensity, staying on your feet. So that's your first checkpoint, whether or not your stride is changing. Now, if it is an injury that is more serious, that's more painful, that you know is going to be a little bit more than just a couple days off, it's really important that you get in and seek the advice of a medical professional. Don't try and self-diagnose. The sooner you can get in, the better. It gives you peace of mind, and often if you're in to see an expert quickly, you can get back on your feet quickly. So it's important that you have a great chiropractor, a great massage therapist in your corner that can help you get on your feet. A lot of times they'll be able to help you modify your training program and be in tune with what your goals are and help you to work through that. Sometimes that might mean you need an entire time off. Other times that might mean you just need to sort of work around that. And they can really help you when it comes to sort of staying on your feet and moving forward. Now let's talk about understanding what we can do to sort of avoid injuries in the first place. I'm going to give you a few tips on things you should think about, because it's a lot easier to avoid being injured than it is to try and recover once you do get injured. So first things first, number one is make sure you're actually recovering properly. You need to be treating your recovery days as a day of training, as part of your training. It's not a day off, it's part of your recovery. Adaptation happens when you're not training. So it's important that you're getting tons of sleep, 8 to 10 hours a night. You need to be getting lots of rest. It's important that your diet is on point. It's important that your nutrition is on point. Staying super hydrated is really key in being able to recover and being able to avoid injuries. A lot of times, if you look back and sort of see what you've been doing over the last few weeks, if your diet starts to go down, if your rest isn't quite there, a lot of times that's setting up an injury. So make sure that you're really intentional on how you're recovering, giving yourself ample time to sort of come back and be ready to go again. So recovery, number one way, and make sure that you're not going to be risking injury. Second thing is being super proactive with your body and being, not waiting for an injury. So your foam roller is going to be one of your best friends, and so is your massage therapist.
Come here often?
Don't wait for an injury to come up to start treating aches and pains. Stay ahead of that. You should be foam rolling every single day, even if it's for 5 to 10 minutes. Don't wait for something to be sore, rolling out those muscles. I like to get to see my massage therapist every single month, proactively. If I'm on it every single month and I'm sort of ahead of that and keeping the machine clean, I find that injuries are way less. You can get ahead of things. A lot of times a great massage therapist can sort of sense something going on in the body before it turns into something major. So be really proactive on how you treat your body. The third thing that is important is to make sure that before you go out for a run, you're warmed up. A lot of times I think people go out cold and push too hard, and all of a sudden you're introducing injuries. So make sure you're doing a great dynamic warm up before you go out the door, some static stretching when you get back in after you're done. Don't just treat your workout as the run itself. There's more to it. There's the before and the after. And the final thing I'll give you as a tip as far as avoiding injury is check your shoes. It could be something as simple as your shoes. Make sure that you're checking the mileage. You shouldn't be running more than 500 to 600 miles on a pair of shoes before you change them out. A lot of times if you've miled out your shoes, that can be something that's actually just something as small as that that's plaguing you, that's creating an injury or creating some soreness and creating a problem. So make sure you're not over miling your shoes. I always have at least 2 pairs on the go, and I'm tracking each time in my training log how many miles I have on each shoe so I know when it's time to change them out. If you're getting the same injury sort of coming back over and over again, maybe you're running in the wrong pair of shoes. Something to think about. In a video I shot a few weeks ago, I talked to a running pro about how to get fitted and how to pick the right pair of shoes. I'll link it up above here in the card. You can take a look at that and learn a little bit more if you'd like to. So those are the tips on how you avoid being injured in the first place. So guys, I hope that helps. It's a part of it. Don't get down on yourself if you do get injured. It's part of the training. Don't ignore it. Be super proactive and you'll be on your feet in no time. My question to you this week is, what is the most common injury? What is the injury that you've dealt with? Maybe you've never been injured. Maybe you've been injured a lot. Maybe you've got something. Comment below. Tell me what it is that really bothers you. Maybe there's something specific that you've been really plagued with over the years. We'll do a specific video on that injury. I'd love it if you'd subscribe. I'd love it if you'd like and share this video. We really appreciate the support. Hope you guys have a great week running, and we'll talk to you guys very, very soon. See you later.